Hey there, welcome back from the runway to the bedside and now the written page. We're joined by Lynn Monet. She's the author of the acclaimed Omnipresent series and her upcoming release, 111 Becca Dawn Drive, and she's here to share more. Lynn, it's great to see you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
No problem. So, you've done so much modeling, nursing, and writing. So why did you want to become an author at this point?
You know, the thing is that I had an event happen later in life. I was a single mother, and I actually purchased a house that had some issues that I never moved into it, let's put it that way. With that, I've had gifts ever since I've been little, and I felt that some of the information that I could put out would be important, especially with my nursing and being able to see some of the things that I see and hear some of the things that I hear with people that are getting ready to pass that are so beautiful, hoping to bring love and warmth to people that are maybe have just lost someone or maybe have been diagnosed with terminal illness or something like that. So I've written also a book, The Colors of Heaven, which is about death and dying in a very beautiful way. And so death should be celebrated, not suffered the loss.
And that's kind of difficult to celebrate it as opposed to grieving it. So how can we do that? How can we celebrate it instead of grieving it?
You know, if people could see what I've seen in room, for one thing, if a person passes away, even if the family's not present, they never pass away alone. A lot of times people talk about seeing their loved ones coming into the room. I've had multiple examples of even overhearing about children that haven't been born yet, and a blind woman talking about what color her son's shirt was because her deceased husband was there to help her cross over and was conveying that message to her. And just to help people understand that there is life after death and we don't die and you will see your loved ones again. You know, death has such a finality to it, but really it's not the last time that you're going to see your loved ones. You're going to see them again.
Yeah. And 40 years of nursing, so what's one of the most memorable moments you've had with a patient?
Oh my goodness, probably the blind lady, Edna, talking about, and if I may share that, I'll make it quick.
Sure.
I had a patient that was blind. She had been completely blind for 10 years, and she was in that stage of transition, and her son and daughter came to the nurse's station telling me that mom's talking to people in the room that aren't there. So I went to the room with them to see if I could make her more comfortable, and she was reaching up into the sky. Her head was slanted and she was reaching up and she was smiling. She was very, very happy with what she was reaching out for and receiving. And I asked her, I said, Edna, who's here? And she says, George. And her daughter turned as white as a sheet and had to sit down because she said, well, George is my father, and my father passed away X amount of years ago. And Edna then pipes up and she says, and he's glad you're taking good care of Pixie. Pixie was Edna's poodle. When George passed away, the son took over the care of Pixie, who was an elderly dog but still very much alive. And he told me the story and he says, well, do you think my mom's hallucinating? And I couldn't say in a professional setting, no, I don't.
What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, well, do you think she's hallucinating? And he's like, well, I don't know. And I said, well, do you mind if I try something? And he says, okay. And I'm like, I'm not trying to change your belief system or anything. I've just experienced that loved ones do come in to collect their families. So I asked Edna, I said, Edna, can I ask George a question? And she nodded her head yes. And I said, what color is your son's shirt? And she said yellow. And her son was actually wearing a yellow Ralph Lauren polo shirt. And so, you know, they talk about people hallucinating before death, talking about loved ones and things like that, but how can a blind person hallucinate?
Yeah, that's true.
That, you know, she was totally blind for 10 years, couldn't see anything. So with these stories, talking about babies that haven't been born yet, talking about people seeing their loved ones even a year in advance of their time to cross, people with Alzheimer's coming back, having those lucid moments during their transition where maybe they haven't spoken a word in 10 years and now all of a sudden they're talking. They can see angels too. I've got so many things in the book, The Colors of Heaven, that I hope to really help people come through that process and understand a little bit better about death and dying.